Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Angela and I'm an angelic Arcturian starseed, and today I wanted to transmit to you guys about ascending the matrix and taking back your sovereignty. The matrix concept is basically that the 3D reality is a reality of illusion. It is a reality of duality, which means there's positive and negative energy, and it's basically a playing field where these positive and negative energies get to play out. And through this contrast of this positive and negative polarity playing out, it creates a plethora of experiences for us, which also helps us to learn and grow and to evolve spiritually. But a lot of times what happens is we come down here to the matrix and we forget who we are. This is part of the contract, is that we forget who we are, we forget our past lives, and we can easily get distracted by the matrix. The goal is to transcend the illusions, to ultimately remember who we are, and to take back our sovereignty as an individual being, because a lot of us can get trapped in the matrix and all of its illusions and deceptions. So we can play out this game in many different ways, and everyone that comes in to play the game is on different levels of consciousness. And so we're all on different levels, and we're all working on ascending these different levels of consciousness in order to learn and grow in the best way for us specifically. So we begin ascending these different levels of consciousness in physicality through our experiences, and they're going to lead us to whatever it is that we need to learn or want to experience in a specific lifetime, which is already contracted before we come here. We already have a blueprint, a plan on what we want to learn and how we're going to learn it. And the ultimate trick is to remember that plan and to be able to carry it out. Now, the tricky part of this is that there are a lot of distractions in the matrix. The main one being currently this need to have lots of money and material things and power and success. This is a really shallow reason for living, and if you're making your life about this and going against your own truth and what your soul is telling you that you're here to do, then you're going to have a very shallow victory at the end of this lifetime, because nobody, not a single soul, comes to earth to chase money, material things, sex, and all of those low vibrational pleasures of the flesh. Those are all distractions. What we really come here to do as souls is to teach others love, to learn compassion, to teach others compassion, to learn empathy, to learn how to interact with each other, and to learn how to move from a place of ego and service to self, where everything's about me and what I want and what I need and my validation and my. We move from that to a place of, how can I serve others? What can I do to help others? What can I do to make the world around me a better place? How can I make this lifetime really count? How can I make it be one that I'm not going to get back to the other side and be disappointed that I didn't get even half of what I had planned done because I was so distracted by the matrix? And a big pitfall for a lot of souls is that they come in with these great plans. I'm going to teach the world to love. I'm going to show compassion and empathy and all these beautiful divine things. And then we come into the matrix and we've forgotten all these plans that we made. And we start getting installed with false programs, cultural conditioning. We are taught to shut our imagination down right off the bat. It's rubbish, don't listen to it. When actually our imagination is a portal to light awareness. And I've actually done a video on that. I may have deleted it, but I'm going to do another one. If it's not on there, I will do another one on that. But it's a portal to light awareness, which means we're able to access other dimensions and realities through our imagination. But so we use our imaginations to access other levels and dimensions. And we also use our dream state to access other levels and dimensions. And these are the two most powerful ways that we can connect with our star family, that we can connect with the divine, that we can connect with our passed on loved ones, that we can essentially connect to the other side. And so we want to learn how to do that, because once we're able to connect to the other side, then we're able to remember more and more of who we are. But when we first come in, we have to deal with all these distractions, all this cultural conditioning that says, don't listen to your imagination. Your life is about making money and owning the nicest car and the biggest house and constantly competing with the Joneses. And if you don't accomplish this in your lifetime and get married and have 2.5 kids, then you are deemed a failure. But what humanity really, really does not understand and really needs to come to terms with is that every single person on this planet is working out a soul contract. And a lot of us are working out karmic contracts from past lives where we didn't complete our mission, where we weren't able to achieve what we had wanted, and even sometimes where we achieved the exact opposite of what we had set out to do. For instance, say I am a rich man in the life before this one, and because I'm a rich man, I'm very greedy and my life is service to self. Not saying that all rich people are like that, but that's a common trait with people who have achieved that level of success, is they're usually doing it from a position of service to self. How can you serve me? How can you elevate me? How can you feed me? That's a very selfish vibration, but it works great in 3D because 3D is an endless platform to create and explore anything that you can imagine. So they can go either way, dark or light. It really just depends on your own mind. But say you were very wealthy and rich and you were kind of a greedy man and you treated your women terrible and you cheated on your wife, and say you meet this poor peasant girl one day and you really fall in love with her, but because she's not rich and successful like you, you're afraid of what other people will think if you get together with this peasant girl. So you ultimately decide to not pursue the real and genuine love that you have with this peasant girl, and instead you choose to follow the path of gaining your riches and your shallow wealth and success. So you do this, you pass away, you get to the other side and you're like, crap, that is not what I meant to do, because maybe your original contract in that life was to come in and to choose the peasant girl and be willing to give up all of the gold and riches and choose true love instead. And this could be something that maybe you have been working through for lifetimes, just trying to get to the place where you make the right decision and choose love over money. I actually know someone who is on this exact path, that's why I say it. So you fail in the life before and you choose your money and your shallow wealth instead of your divine love. And then the next lifetime comes and you're given another opportunity. You're put in a similar situation, exact situation, but not exactly the same, but same. You have a certain level of status and success. You fall in love with somebody who maybe isn't up to that level of status that you are, and so you have the choice to make again. And so this is how karmic contracts and soul plans and blueprints play out, and how they can play out life after life after life. So now I'm this person in this life and I have the choice to make again. And no matter whichever choice I choose is going to ultimately decide if I have to cycle another lifetime through the earth matrix to learn the lesson, or if I am going to make the right decision and be able to move on to another lesson. And some people, especially when it comes to shallow riches and humanity's version of what success is, can spend lifetime after lifetime after lifetime cycling through the matrix, trying to get themselves to a place where they actually do not fall for all the illusions and deceptions that the 3D reality creates, but be able to stay true to one's self and one's divine plan despite all the distractions in the matrix. So on the other side of that coin, if I'm the peasant girl and I'm working out this contract with this king or whoever, I will most likely remain a peasant for that entire life. It doesn't mean that I don't have any value or that I didn't accomplish anything in that life, because what I actually accomplished was playing out a soul contract with this other person that mutually benefits both of us and makes us both a stronger individual. So if my soul contract is to stay poor in a lifetime and live a life of poverty in order to fulfill this blueprint, this contract, it doesn't make me any less valuable as a person. And, you know, some of the people that humanity deems the weakest or the least valuable, the elderly, the disabled, the learning impaired, whatever it is, people that we would normally shun and say, you know, we're better than that, I'm better than that, or they don't know anything because they haven't achieved high levels of success and material abundance, so they must not have any value. And this is a major false program that really goes around the Earth Matrix these days that I see a lot. Humanity puts way too much emphasis on one's ability to attain status and riches versus one's ability to follow their soul mission. So that is a huge distraction that really gets a lot of people stuck in the Matrix. It's one that's been going on for a long time, and it's one that many people continue to work out over and over again. So if we want to take control over our experience in the Matrix, we need to learn to take control of our mind, because our mind is always co-creating with the universe. And the way that the universe reads our thoughts, because outside of the flesh, we are telepathic anyway. But within the flesh, we have the ego mind and different various blocks that keep us from that direct telepathic communication. But we still have an intuitive connection to source. And it's really important that we make that connection back to source while we are in the flesh. This requires a certain level of self-awareness. This means you have to be conscious of what you are thinking and what your thoughts are creating, because what your belief systems are, what your conscious thoughts are, and what your subconscious thoughts are all going to create your reality. And they're going to create your experience on Earth. So somebody who has a very negative mindset is going to have a very negative experience on Earth. People that have a more positive mindset tend to have a more positive experience. But like I said, there's a lot of karma and soul contracts and different variables that play into this. So ultimately what we want to do in order to be able to rise above the Matrix and to be able to take our power back as a sovereign being is to learn to break free of cultural conditioning, especially if it goes against what you believe and know to be truth, aka status and material possessions are not the most important thing in life. The most important thing in life is love yourself and love others. Compassion, forgiveness, empathy. Those are the things that are important. And a lot of people, when they get back to the other side, are so full of shame and guilt because of the choices that they made in the flesh, and they promise spirit that they are going to come back and do it right this time, and they beg for another chance, and then they get back down here and they keep making the same decisions again and again and again, which causes someone to just continue these cycles within the Matrix. And this can go on for thousands of lifetimes, you guys. That's why it's so important to be able to raise your vibration and your consciousness enough to rise above the 3D consciousness, because once you get up here above the 3D consciousness, you're going to be able to see things with a very clear perspective, the same perspective you would have almost if you were on the other side of the veil looking in. So if you don't want to get caught in, recycling over and over and over and living thousands of lives just to learn, one or two main lessons that you need to learn, it's so important to become really self-aware of what you're thinking, because that's creating a reality, but also be aware of societal conditioning, subconscious programs, and familial and generational curses. So the way we rise above it is we take control of our mind, we erase false programs, subconscious and conscious. We do the healing work for our trauma, because we also carry our trauma from one lifetime to the next if we don't heal it, and we also pass it on to future generations if we don't heal it. So it's important for you to be the one who heals the curses and karma of your generational line, so that you can quit passing it on to the next generation, until somebody finally does what they need to do to break the curse and break the karma, which is usually overcome whatever the bad karma or curse is. So, I mean, there's a lot to navigating the matrix, but the most important thing I want to say in this video is that your mind is the most powerful tool you have for navigating the matrix. And because your thoughts are able to create your reality, and we're not taught this as children, because there are certain dark forces on this planet who do not want you to know this. They do not want you to transcend the matrix, because then they can no longer feed off of your negative energy that they are helping to create by keeping humanity suppressed, by keeping free energy suppressed, by convincing humanity that success is about obtaining a shitload of debt and then passing that debt on to your kids. Or, you know, it's just about shallow things, and that, you know, the purpose of our lives is to simply collect things and then die. I mean, we can't take any of those things with us. It's pretty much pointless. And once you reach higher levels of consciousness, you'll see how unimportant those things really are and how little they really have to do with your mission here. But they can be quite a distraction. Same with these cultural ideas that we are bred into, you know. So it's important to break out of these paradigms, these limiting paradigms, and really understand that you are an infinite being. You can create anything you want as long as you can control your mind. So once you learn to create your own truth, your own definition of success, your own experience and what you want to experience on this earth, and you also do the work to heal the trauma and to raise your vibration, you are going to just start lifting up through the matrix, and you will see all of the paradigms of the matrix still playing out below you, but you've reached a higher level where you now have this bird's eye view on the matrix itself and all the little paradigms and things that happen within the matrix, all the deceptions, all the illusions, and all the truths and all the love, because it is a mix of both. But you'll be able to see that clearly because you won't be running distorted programs in your subconscious mind anymore. You won't be believing these distorted cultural beliefs that our society has framed us into, these boxes of very limited thinking of, oh, you can't do that, oh, that's not important, love is weak, emotions are weak, feminine energy is weak, we need to run this rigid masculine program and just work our hands to the bone and acquire as many things as we can. That's what life's about. And that is just such a massive falsity. It's unbelievable. And so many people buy into it because they don't have that connection with their soul. They don't have that connection to the divine. So it's incredibly important to connect to your soul, to connect to the divine, to speak with the divine often. How do we speak to the divine? Through our intuition and our inner knowing. The divine is always speaking to us. It's up to us whether or not we listen. And we're always receiving guidance, because ultimately, to beat the 3D illusion game, one must learn to take control of their mind, one must learn to take control of their energy, and one must learn to become conscious in the physical. So yeah, I hope that gives you guys some perspective. I don't know if that really came out the way I wanted it to, but I don't script anything. I just freely channel whatever wants to come through. So I hope that made sense. And if not, please leave me a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my channel. It helps my channel to grow and get my message out to more people that need to hear it. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.